Well, hello. Welcome back. Don't know if you know, but we're here every Thursday, whether you are or not. Today, I want to start off by talking about obfuscation. What? I'm soaking in it? Yes, you are. Obfuscation is the use of language to misdirect, misinform, or outright lie. In other words, to hide the meaning using language. Properly used, and it's being properly used against us every day, it can turn the meaning of a word completely upside down. For me, the prime example of that are propositions that are presented to the voting public on municipal and state levels. So frequently, if you are seeing a campaign that says vote yes for Prop XYZ, in fact, you are voting against whatever that proposition represents. As an example, suppose there's a proposition to raise taxes on the manufacturer of tic-tac-toe boards. The tic-tac-toe manufacturers, of course, don't want to see that happen. Oh my God, we have to pay money just to pay taxes, which is theft. So anyhow, they launch a campaign and they word this campaign in such a way that if you vote yes, meaning you want to see taxes increase, if you vote yes, you are actually voting against increasing those taxes. It's a miraculous sort of magic. We take the meaning of a word and completely alter it. And we see this happening to us every day from a certain administration that we're all aware of, or most of us are aware of. So anyhow, be aware of that, obfuscation, using language to change the meaning. From that, I kind of want to leapfrog into something completely unrelated. Speaking of a certain administration, it boils down to what I would consider idolatry at this point. There is a certain segment of the population who so believe that a certain person is chosen by God, and they literally worship him. He can do no wrong. He's chosen by God. And I don't know how to settle that in my mind. At a certain point, I wondered, does this sort of religious belief and fervor cross the line from what we would call sane into insane? That idolatry that goes on. And I don't know if I'm more sympathetic to those who actually believe that, or those who are pretending to believe it for wealth and political power. You know, that bending of the knee because it is necessary to advance one's own agenda. I'm not sure I feel sorry for them, but there is a certain feeling of being repulsed, you know, like opening your underwear drawer and seeing a nest of snakes. There's just something impossibly wrong about what's going on, and any attempt to say that this is the new normal is messed up. There is nothing normal about it. Whether it's new or old, this is not normal. And to go from that, I want to talk about weather and climate. Man, just speaking for myself, where I am, we have been having torrential rain day after day after day, just soaking the ground. Fortunately, I live in an area that's not prone to flooding, and my heart goes out to the many people in the South who are suffering dire consequences from these climate events. But just locally, everything is wet. There's a moisture that you can't get away from. You touch certain things and they're slick. They are wet just from the humidity that lingers after all these rains. And of course, there is this thing that we call, anthropomorphic climate change, which we are told is a clever scam invented by Vice President Gore. What a whiz guy he was, Not only did he invent an entire fake climate change, he's actually making it happen. What levers is he pulling to make that occur? Just an aside, we're not allowed to address that, or, we can, but as soon as you do, this is genius, and it's a matter of obfuscation. As soon as you talk about climate change and the increasing CO2 levels, those who are true believers that the idea of anthropomorphic climate change is a hoax, they will immediately go to, and this has happened to me again and again, why do you hate CO2? Plants love it. Plants thrive. The more CO2 there is in the air, the better off we all are. Look at how these plants are growing. It's genius from the fossil fuel industry to direct all such observations into why don't you like CO2? I personally don't have an emotional response to anything that appears on the periodic table. I don't hate, I don't like CO2. The issue is that CO2 creates secondary effects in the air. It begins to increase heat, which in turn releases frozen methane and other gases. Even water vapor can contribute to this increasingly violent weather we are all witnessing. And at this point, there's very little we can do to stop it from happening. At most, we could attempt to lessen the effects, which are already out of control. There's not much we can do to reverse what we have allowed to happen. If we stopped using fossil fuels completely, it wouldn't matter. There is an inevitable conclusion that will be reached. There is a cycle that must be ended before we can even hope to rebuild a more normal world. And I love the fact that each tremendously horrible weather event is just presented as, unprecedented. Unprecedented. This is unprecedented. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Things like this have never happened, ever. There have been local events such as this, flooding, fires, drought. They are local. That is weather. Weather is local. Climate is universal. These things are happening everywhere in the world. Thus, it is climate change, not weather. I think I'm going to wrap up with, be kind to each other. Learn to be kind. Learn to help yourself and those around you. Use what you need and pass on what you don't need right now. There's always going to be a community that we can turn to, and don't let anyone tell you that we don't have a community. We do. We mostly haven't ever seen each other face to face, but there's a true concern that I feel, and I hope you feel it's reciprocated. I am concerned for your welfare. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the ones you love. Take care of strangers. If you see a stranger in need, help them. There ain't nobody coming to save us. All we have is ourselves. Anyhow, I love you guys. Have a good week. Be here next Thursday. Bye-bye.